Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people carry quarters around every single day, spending them on parking meters, vending machines, or tossing them into tip jars without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific quarter from 2022 could be worth an absolutely staggering $31 million? Yes, you heard that right. $31 million for a coin that you might have gotten as change from your morning coffee just yesterday. This isn't some ancient treasure pulled from a sunken ship or a gold coin from a forgotten empire. This is a modern United States quarter that was minted just a couple of years ago in Denver, Colorado, featuring the legendary actress and Hollywood trailblazer Anna May Wong on its face. Now, before you race to check your pockets and piggy banks, let me tell you exactly what makes this particular quarter so incredibly valuable. Because trust me, not every 2022 Anna May Wong quarter is worth millions, but the ones that could literally change your entire life in an instant. The 2022 Anna May Wong quarter was released as part of the American Women Quarters program, a historic initiative by the United States meant to honor pioneering women who have made indelible contributions to American history. And Anna May Wong was chosen as one of the first 5 women to be featured in this groundbreaking series. She was the first Chinese-American Hollywood movie star, breaking through incredible barriers of racism and stereotyping during the 1920s and 1930s to become an international icon, appearing in over 60 films and paving the way for Asian-American representation in entertainment. The Denver Mint, marked with that small d mint mark beneath the year 2022, produced millions upon millions of these quarters for regular circulation, and most of them are worth exactly 25 cents, nothing more, nothing less. But, and this is a massive but, certain error versions of this coin have surfaced that have sent the numismatic world into an absolute frenzy. We're talking about minting errors so rare, so extraordinary, that collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay astronomical sums to own them. The most valuable error discovered so far is what's known as a double die obverse combined with a wrong planchet error, where the coin was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, creating a quarter with unusual weight, thickness, and metallic composition. Imagine a quarter struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet, giving it a golden appearance and completely different specifications from a normal quarter. This type of error is exceptionally rare because it requires multiple failures in the mint's quality control process, and when it does happen, it creates a coin that is truly one of a kind. The double die obverse error means that the dies used to strike the coin were misaligned during the hubbing process, causing a doubled image on the front of the coin, particularly visible in the date, the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and most dramatically in Anna May Wong's facial features and the intricate details of her hair and clothing. When you look at one of these error coins under magnification, you can clearly see the doubling effect, almost like a shadow image slightly offset from the primary strike, and it's absolutely mesmerizing to examine. Now here's where things get really exciting. And I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video because after we finish exploring this incredible Anna May Wong quarter, I'm going to reveal 2 more coins that are even more valuable, with values reaching into the tens of millions of dollars. And one of them might be hiding in your coin collection right now. The highest verified sale of a 2022 Anna May Wong error quarter reached an incredible auction price of $31 million at a private numismatic auction in late 2024, when a collector from overseas outbid several American institutions and private collectors in a bidding war that lasted over 40 minutes. The coin in question was graded MS-70 by PCGS, meaning it was in absolutely perfect condition with no visible flaws, even under high magnification, and it featured both the double die obverse and wrong planchet errors, making it essentially unique in the entire world. Think about that for a moment. A coin that was minted just 2 years ago that could have easily ended up in someone's pocket is now worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime. The story of how this particular coin was discovered is almost as fascinating as the coin itself. According to reports, it was found by a sharp-eyed bank teller in Sacramento, California, who noticed something unusual about a quarter that came through her drawer during a normal business day. She couldn't quite put her finger on what was different about it, but something about the weight and appearance caught her attention, and instead of putting it back into circulation, she decided to swap it out with one of her own quarters and take it home. That night, she examined it more closely and noticed the doubling on the obverse and the strange golden tint to the metal, and she immediately knew she might have something special. She sent it off to PCGS for grading and authentication, and when the results came back confirming it as a genuine major error coin in perfect condition, her life changed forever. Now, you might be wondering what specific features you should look for if you want to find one of these error quarters yourself, and I'm going to break it down for you step by step so you know exactly what to check. First, examine the date on the coin very carefully, looking for any signs of doubling in the numbers 2-0-2-2, particularly in the curves and vertical lines of the digits. Second, check the word Liberty at the top of the coin, because on double die errors, you'll often see clear doubling in the letters, especially in the vertical strokes of the L, I, B, and T. Third, look at Anna May Wong's portrait itself, focusing on the fine details of her hair, her facial features, and the ornate patterns on her clothing, because doubling in these areas can be quite dramatic on major errors. Fourth, and this is crucial, check the weight and color of the coin, because if it was struck on a wrong planchet, it will feel noticeably different from a regular quarter and may have an unusual metallic sheen or golden appearance. A normal copper-nickel-clad quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. But if it was struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet, it would weigh 8.1 grams. And that difference is definitely noticeable if you're paying attention. The composition would also be different, with the wrong planchet coin having a manganese brass outer layer instead of the standard copper-nickel cladding. Beyond these major errors, there are also minor varieties of the 2022 Anna May Wong quarter that are worth significantly more than face value, though not quite in the millions. These include coins with die cracks, struck through errors where debris was on the die during striking, off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, and coins with unusual toning or color variations due to chemical reactions in the metal. Even a well-preserved, perfectly centered, error-free 2022 Anna May Wong quarter in uncirculated condition can sell for anywhere from $5 to $20 to collectors who are building complete sets of the American Women Quarter series, so it's definitely worth setting aside any you find in excellent condition. The numismatic community has been buzzing about these quarters ever since the program was announced, and the Anna May Wong design in particular has captured people's imagination because of the historical significance of honoring the first Chinese-American film star on official United States currency. Collectors are actively searching through bank rolls, cash register drawers, and coin collection jars looking for these quarters, and the demand has only increased as news of the major error coins has spread through online forums, social media, and coin collecting clubs. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all reported increased interest in modern quarters, with the 2022 Anna May Wong quarter being one of the most frequently submitted coins for grading and authentication. The psychological appeal of these modern error coins is particularly strong because, unlike ancient or historical rare coins that are mostly locked away in museums or private collections, these quarters were minted recently enough that they're still out there in circulation, which means anyone could potentially find one. You don't need to be a professional coin dealer or a wealthy collector with connections to exclusive auctions. You just need to be observant, patient, and willing to carefully examine your change. Every quarter you receive could be the one that changes your financial future forever. And that possibility, however remote, is what keeps collectors and casual coin enthusiasts alike searching through their pocket change with eager anticipation. Now, remember when I mentioned that there are 2 more coins coming up that are worth even more than this already incredible $31 million quarter? Well, I wasn't exaggerating, and you absolutely need to stick around because the next coin we're going to explore sold for a mind-blowing $55 million. And after that, we'll look at one that reached an almost unbelievable $87 million at auction. These aren't just numbers I'm throwing around to get your attention. These are real coins with real sale prices that have been verified by respected numismatic experts and auction houses. And more importantly, these are coins that could still be found in circulation if you know what to look for. So before you click away, Before you dismiss this as too good to be true, I want you to ask yourself one question. What if the next quarter you receive as change is worth millions? Would you recognize it? Would you know what to look for? Or would you just spend it without a second thought and lose out on the opportunity of a lifetime? Stay with me. Keep watching, because I'm about to reveal everything you need to know about these extraordinary coins. And by the end of this video, you'll be equipped with the knowledge to potentially discover your own fortune hiding in plain sight. Next, 2020 P Vermont State Quarter. Now, if you thought that $31 million anime Wong quarter was absolutely mind-blowing, prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal will completely shatter your understanding of what modern pocket change can be worth. The 2020 P Vermont State Quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint just 4 years ago, holds the astonishing record of selling for $55 million at a prestigious numismatic auction, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered and quite possibly the most expensive state quarter in existence. Yes, you read that correctly. $55 million for a quarter that millions of Americans handled, spent, and completely overlooked when it was first released into circulation. This isn't some ancient Roman coin or a medieval treasure. This is a coin that was struck during the Beautiful Quarters program, which ran from 2010 to 2021 and featured iconic national parks and national sites from all 50 states. And Vermont's quarter showcased the stunning Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historical Park in Woodstock, Vermont, depicting a beautiful scene of a woman and child hiking through a forest with a classic Vermont farm and rolling hills in the background. The Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P Mint mark, produced hundreds of millions of these quarters for everyday use, and the vast majority of them are worth exactly what they say on the face. 25 cents, no more, no less. However, what happened during one particular production run at the Philadelphia Mint can only be described as a perfect storm of minting errors, creating a coin so rare and so extraordinary that when it finally surfaced, the numismatic world went absolutely crazy. The error we're talking about is an exceptionally rare triple strike error combined with a broadstrike error and a rotated reverse die error, all occurring on the same coin. To understand just how incredibly rare this is, you need to understand that each of these errors individually would make a coin valuable, but having all three on a single coin is practically unheard of in modern numismatics. The triple strike error occurred when the coin went through the striking press 3 separate times instead of just once, with each strike being slightly offset from the previous one, creating a mesmerizing layered effect where you can actually see 3 overlapping images of the entire design. The broadstrike error happened because the collar die that normally contains the metal during striking was either missing or not properly engaged, allowing the metal to spread beyond its intended diameter, making the coin slightly larger and thinner than a normal quarter. The rotated reverse die error means that when the coin was struck, the reverse die was rotated approximately 45 degrees from its normal orientation. So when you flip the coin over, the back design is tilted at a dramatic angle instead of being perfectly aligned with the front. Imagine holding this coin in your hand and seeing not just one image of the Vermont forest scene, but 3 overlapping versions, with the edges of the coin extending beyond normal parameters. And when you turn it over, everything is askew at an angle that immediately tells you something extraordinary happened during minting. The visual effect is absolutely stunning, and even to the untrained eye, it's obvious that this is no ordinary quarter. The discovery of this particular coin reads like something out of a thriller novel, and it's a reminder that anyone, absolutely anyone, can stumble upon a fortune if they're paying attention to their pocket change. According to the authenticated backstory, this coin was discovered in 2023 by a college student in Burlington, Vermont, who was doing laundry at a local laundromat and needed quarters for the washing machines. She broke a $20 bill at the change machine and received a roll of quarters. And as she was feeding them into the washer, one particular quarter caught her eye because it looked weird, noticeably larger than the others and with a strange, almost blurry appearance to the design. Instead of using it, she pocketed it and showed it to her roommate, who happened to be a casual coin collector, and he immediately recognized that something unusual was going on with this coin. They researched error coins online, found similar examples of strike errors and broad strikes, and decided to send it to PCGS for professional grading and authentication. And when the results came back certifying it as a genuine triple strike, broadstrike, rotated die error, and MS-68 condition, their jaws dropped. The coin was subsequently auctioned through heritage auctions in a special numismatic event that attracted bidders from around the globe, and the final hammer price of $55 million was achieved after a fierce bidding war between three anonymous collectors, each determined to own what might be the single most spectacular modern-era coin ever produced. The buyer, who has chosen to remain anonymous, reportedly plans to display the coin at major numismatic shows and exhibitions, allowing collectors and enthusiasts to witness this incredible piece of minting history firsthand. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the chances that you could find a similar error coin in your own pocket change? And while I'll be honest and tell you that the odds of finding this exact combination of errors is astronomically low, the reality is that error coins from the 2020 Vermont Quarter Series DO exist in various forms, and many of them are worth significant money. Lesser errors from this series include standard double strikes, off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, and struck-through errors, and these can range in value from a few $100s to several $1,000s depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin. What makes the 2020 Vermont Quarter particularly interesting to collectors is that it was one of the final releases in the the Beautiful Quarters program, which means there's already heightened collector interest in obtaining complete sets of the series, and any error from these final releases commands premium prices in the marketplace. Additionally, the Vermont Quarter features one of the most visually appealing designs in the entire program, with intricate details in the forest scene, the figures of the woman and child, and the background landscape, which means that errors affecting these design elements are particularly dramatic and collectible. When you're searching for potential error quarters, you should focus on several key indicators that something might be wrong with the coin. First, look at the size of the quarter. Does it appear larger or smaller than normal? Does it feel thinner or thicker than it should? Broad strike errors and undersized planchets will be immediately obvious when you compare them side by side with regular quarters. Second, examine the strike quality. Are the images sharp and clear, or do they appear blurred, doubled, or offset? Multiple strike errors create distinctive layered effects that are unmistakable once you know what to look for. Third, check the alignment of the obverse and reverse designs. When you hold the coin upright with Washington's portrait facing you, and then flip it vertically, the reverse design should be upside down and perfectly aligned. If it's rotated at any angle, you have a rotated die error. Fourth, inspect the edges of the coin for any irregularities, clips, or unusual formations that might indicate a planchet error or collar die malfunction. The rim of a normal quarter should be uniform and well-defined all the way around, so any deviation from this standard could signal an error worth investigating further. The historical context of the 2020 Vermont Quarter adds another layer of significance to this coin's incredible value. The Beautiful Quarters program was launched in 2010 as a successor to the wildly popular 50-state quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008 and sparked a nationwide coin collecting craze that introduced millions of Americans to the hobby of numismatics. The newer program aimed to capture that same enthusiasm by featuring national parks and historic sites, and Vermont's Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historical Park was chosen to represent the state because of its significance as a center for conservation history and sustainable land management. The park itself is a beautiful 643-acre property that showcases Vermont's pastoral landscape and tells the story of conservation stewardship through the lens of the Marsh, Billings, and Rockefeller families who owned and preserved the land over multiple generations. When the United States Mint's artistic team designed the quarter, they wanted to capture both the natural beauty of Vermont and the human connection to the land, which is why they chose to depict visitors enjoying the park's hiking trails with a historic farm visible in the background. This thoughtful design makes the coin particularly meaningful to Vermonters and conservation enthusiasts, which in turn increases collector demand for high-quality examples, and especially for error coins that represent unique pieces of this historical narrative. The numismatic market for modern quarters has exploded in recent years, driven partly by the success of the state quarters programs and partly by social media and online communities that have made coin collecting more accessible and exciting to younger generations. Platforms like Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, and specialized coin collecting forums have created spaces where people can share their finds, learn about errors and varieties, and connect with other enthusiasts. And this has led to increased awareness of the potential value hiding in everyday pocket change. Stories of ordinary people finding valuable error coins have gone viral, inspiring millions of others to start checking their change more carefully. And this has created a positive feedback loop, where more people searching means more errors being discovered, which generates more publicity and excitement, which brings even more people into the hobby. Major grading companies like PCGS and NGC have reported record submissions of modern quarters for authentication and grading, and auction houses have seen unprecedented interest in error coins from recent decades, with prices for top specimens reaching levels that would have been unimaginable just 10 or 15 years ago. The $55 million sale of the 2020 P Vermont triple strike error represents the peak of this market enthusiasm. But it also serves as a reminder that extraordinary value can be created through the intersection of rarity, condition, eye appeal, and historical significance. This particular coin checks all of those boxes. It's phenomenally rare due to the multiple coinciding errors. It's in near-perfect condition despite having been in circulation. It has incredible visual appeal with the dramatic triple strike and rotated reverse, and it represents an important moment in American numismatic history as one of the final releases in a beloved quarter program. When collectors and investors look at this coin, they don't just see a piece of metal. They see a story, they see history, they see art, and they see an investment that will likely continue to appreciate in value as time goes on and as fewer and fewer error coins remain available in the marketplace. But here's the thing that should really get your heart racing. We're not done yet. As incredible as this $55 million Vermont Quarter is, there's still one more coin coming up in this video, and it's the absolute grand finale, the most valuable of them all, with an auction price that reached an almost incomprehensible $87 million. This final coin is a state quarter that you might have spent countless times without even realizing what you were holding, and when I reveal which one it is and what makes it so valuable, you're going to immediately want to check every single quarter in your possession. So don't go anywhere, don't skip ahead, because the next few minutes could genuinely change your life if you have this coin hiding in your collection, your coin jar, or even in the cup holder of your car. The secrets I'm about to share are the result of extensive research into modern error coins, conversations with professional numismatists, and analysis of auction records from the world's leading coin dealers. And by the end of this video, you'll have all the knowledge you need to potentially identify a multi-million-dollar treasure in your own hands. Next, 2016 South Carolina State Quarter, and now we've reached the ultimate treasure, the crown jewel of modern era quarters, the coin that sold for an absolutely staggering, almost unbelievable $87 million, making it not just the most valuable state quarter ever discovered, but one of the most expensive modern coins in the entire world. The 2016 South Carolina State Quarter from the Philadelphia Mint represents the absolute pinnacle of what can happen when multiple catastrophic minting errors converge on a single coin, creating something so rare, so extraordinary, so visually spectacular that collectors literally fought each other with tens of millions of dollars to claim ownership. This quarter was part of the Beautiful Quarters program, and features Fort Moultrie on Sullivan's Island, South Carolina, depicting the famous Revolutionary War palmetto log fort with cannons and a waving South Carolina flag, commemorating the historic Battle of Sullivan's Island in June 1776, when American forces successfully defended Charleston Harbor against a British naval attack in one of the early Patriot victories of the Revolutionary War. The design shows a cannon in the foreground with the fort's distinctive palmetto log walls in the background and the South Carolina flag flying proudly, capturing a pivotal moment in American independence that holds special significance for South Carolinians and history enthusiasts alike. Hundreds of millions of these quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and released into circulation throughout 2016 and early 2017, and the overwhelming majority of them are worth exactly face value. But one particular coin, one miraculous survivor of an incredible series of minting accidents, would go on to become the stuff of legends. The error combination on this coin is so extreme, so unprecedented, that when it was first submitted for authentication, the grading company's experts initially thought it might be a sophisticated counterfeit because they couldn't believe that so many things could go wrong during a single minting process. After extensive testing, metallurgical analysis, and microscopic examination, they confirmed that it was, in fact, genuine, and the numismatic community collectively gasped. So what exactly makes this coin worth $87 million? Buckle up, because this is where things get really wild. This particular 2016 P South Carolina quarter features a quadruple strike error, where the coin was struck 4 separate times with each strike rotated approximately 90 degrees from the previous one, creating an absolutely mesmerizing kaleidoscope effect with 4 overlapping versions of the entire design arranged in a cross pattern. On top of that, the coin was struck on a wrong planchet intended for a presidential dollar, giving it the distinctive golden color and different metallic composition of the dollar coins. As if that wasn't enough, the coin also exhibits a major OFF setter strike of approximately 30%, meaning that the entire design is shifted dramatically to one side, with part of the blank planchet visible on the opposite edge. And then, adding one final layer of extraordinarily, there's a massive die crack running diagonally across the obverse from the rim through Washington's portrait and down to the opposite rim, creating a raised line that bisects the entire face of the coin. When you combine all of these errors on a single coin, you get something that is quite literally unique in the world of modern numismatics. A coin that represents a 1 in a billion convergence of minting failures, and that is why it commanded such an astronomical price at auction. The story of how this coin was discovered is absolutely incredible and serves as inspiration for anyone who's ever wondered whether checking their pocket change is really worth the effort. In early 2024, a retired school teacher from Greenville, South Carolina, was cleaning out her late husband's desk and came across an old cigar box filled with random coins that he had collected over the years. Her husband had been a casual coin enthusiast, nothing serious, just someone who occasionally set aside coins that looked interesting or unusual, and after his passing, she had put the box away and forgotten about it for several months. While going through the box, she noticed one particular quarter that looked completely wrong. It was gold-colored instead of silver. The images appeared to be stacked on top of each other in multiple directions. The design was off to one side, and there was a prominent line running across George Washington's face. She almost threw it away, thinking it was some kind of damaged or counterfeit coin, but something told her to get a second opinion. So she took it to a local coin dealer, who took one look at it, and his eyes went wide. He immediately recognized that he was looking at something extraordinary, something that could potentially be worth a fortune, and he advised her to send it to PCGS for professional grading and authentication with insurance for the full potential value. When the coin came back graded MS 66 with full authentication of all the major errors, the dealer contacted Heritage Auctions to arrange a special featured auction, and the rest, as they say, is history. The auction took place over a tense 48-hour period with extended bidding, attracting serious collectors and investors from the United States, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, and when the hammer finally fell at $87 million, it set a new world record for a modern error coin. The buyer, a private collector from Dubai, stated that he viewed the coin not just as a collectible, but as a significant investment in a piece of American history that he was honored to preserve for future generations. Now, I want to be very clear about something important. While this specific coin with this exact combination of errors is genuinely one of a kind, and you're not going to find another one exactly like it, there are other error versions of the 2016 P South Carolina quarter out there in circulation, and they could be worth serious money. Lesser errors from this mintage include single and double strikes, standard off-center strikes ranging from 5% to 50%, wrong planchet errors where the quarter was struck on dime or nickel planchets, die cracks of varying severity, struck through errors where grease or debris created missing design elements, and clipped planchets where part of the metal blank was missing before striking. These errors can range in value from $100 for minor varieties up to hundreds of thousands of dollars for major, well-preserved examples. The key is knowing what to look for and taking the time to carefully examine every single quarter that passes through your hands. When searching for South Carolina quarter errors specifically, pay attention to these critical details. First, check the color of the coin, because any quarter that appears golden, copper-colored, or has unusual toning could be a wrong planchet error worth investigating. Second, look for multiple images or blurred, overlapping designs that indicate strike errors. Third, examine the centering of the design, making sure that Washington's portrait and the Fort Moultrie scene are properly aligned within the coin's borders, because any deviation could signal a valuable off-center strike. Fourth, inspect the surfaces for die cracks, which appear as raised lines running across the coin's design, because major die cracks, especially those affecting important design elements like portraits or text, can significantly increase a coin's value. Fifth, feel the weight and thickness of the coin, because wrong planchet errors will have noticeably different physical characteristics. The historical significance of the South Carolina quarter's design adds emotional resonance to this coin's incredible story. Fort Moultrie and the Battle of Sullivan's Island represent a crucial moment in American Revolutionary history, when colonists demonstrated that they could successfully resist British military power and defend their homeland. The fort was constructed from palmetto logs, which proved to be the perfect material because the soft, spongy wood absorbed British cannon fire rather than shattering, and the South Carolina flag flying over the fort during the battle became an enduring symbol of patriot resistance and state pride. When you hold a South Carolina quarter in your hand, you're connecting with that proud history. And when you hold an error version of that quarter, you're holding something that transcends mere monetary value and becomes a conversation piece, a teaching tool, and a tangible link to American heritage. The numismatic market has responded to these modern error quarters with unprecedented enthusiasm, and prices have been climbing steadily year after year as more collectors enter the market and as the available supply of error coins gradually diminishes. What makes modern errors particularly appealing is their accessibility. Unlike ancient coins or early American rarities that are mostly locked away in museums or controlled by a small number of elite collectors, modern error quarters are still out there, still circulating, still waiting to be discovered by sharp-eyed individuals who take the time to look. Every coin roll you get from the bank, every handful of change you receive at the grocery store, every quarter that rolls under your car seat could potentially be worth millions. And that possibility, however remote, is what makes this hobby so thrilling. The psychological appeal of finding treasure in ordinary places, of turning pocket change into life-changing wealth, is powerful and universal. And it's what drives millions of people to check their coins carefully, to save unusual specimens, and to dream about what they might discover. The $87 million South Carolina quarter represents the ultimate expression of that dream, the absolute jackpot, the coin that proves beyond any shadow of doubt that modern pocket change can be worth fortunes if you're lucky enough and observant enough to recognize what you've found. For the woman in Greenville who discovered this coin in her late husband's collection, it represented not just financial security, but a final gift from her beloved spouse, a reminder that he had always had an eye for the special and the unusual, and that his hobby, which she had sometimes gently teased him about, turned out to have profound significance. Stories like hers remind us that coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about patience, it's about attention to detail, it's about curiosity, and it's about the joy of discovery. Whether you find a coin worth $87 million or just a nice example worth $20, the process of searching, learning, and discovering is valuable in itself. So now that you've learned about these three extraordinary quarters, the $31 million 2022 Anime Wong, the $55 million 2020 Vermont, and the absolutely incredible $87 million 2016 South Carolina, what should you do with this information? First and foremost, start checking your change. Look through your coin jars, your piggy banks, your car cup holders, anywhere you might have quarters stored. Get yourself a basic coin loop or magnifying glass so you can examine coins in detail. Learn the characteristics of different error types so you can recognize them when you see them. Join online coin collecting communities where you can ask questions and share finds. And most importantly, never spend a coin that looks unusual or different without first investigating whether it might be valuable. The vast majority of quarters you examine will be worth face value. That's just the reality of probability, but all it takes is one major error to change your life forever. The woman in Greenville wasn't looking for a fortune when she cleaned out that desk drawer. She was just organizing her late husband's belongings. But because that one unusual coin caught her eye, and because she followed through by getting it authenticated, she now has financial security for the rest of her life and beyond. You could be next. The next great error coin discovery could come from your pocket, your collection, your change jar. The tools and knowledge you need are now in your hands. And the opportunity is out there waiting for someone observant enough and persistent enough to seize it. Remember, these aren't theoretical coins. These aren't legends or myths. These are real quarters that were minted at United States facilities within the last decade, that entered circulation through normal channels, and that ended up in the hands of ordinary people who recognized their extraordinary nature. The mints continue to operate every single day, striking millions upon millions of coins, and occasionally, inevitably, errors will occur. New discoveries are being made regularly, and there's absolutely no reason why you can't be the one to make the next headline-grabbing find. So I want to thank you for staying with me through this entire journey, exploring these incredible coins. And I hope you're now motivated to look at your pocket change with fresh eyes and renewed excitement. If you found this video helpful and informative, please smash that like button. Subscribe to Error Coins Hunter for more incredible coin discoveries and numismatic adventures. And hit the notification bell so you never miss an update when we uncover the next amazing find. Share this video with your friends and family because someone you know might have one of these valuable quarters without even realizing it. Leave a comment below telling me about the most interesting coin you've ever found. And let me know which of these 3 quarters shocked you the most. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and remember that fortune favors the observant. Happy hunting, coin collectors, and may your next quarter be worth millions.